you are going to be the mother of a child, don't you feel sorry for your unborn child?
My mother-in-law brought up my child. How coward is she?
Find a job. Both you and your daughter are healthy. You can still work if you choose to. Your daughter is still young. She can work as much as she wants. Find a job. If you want to protect your kids, you need to stand up by yourself. You do nothing and come ask for help. Things do not work that way.
My name is Sarah. I've been married to my husband Chris for 3 years. We get along well and are leading a happy life. My husband is a kind and caring man, but his mother has been bothering me day after day. Before we got married, she told us she wanted to live with us, so it is okay to live with her. When we started living together, I thought we had a good relationship. However, my father-in-law passed away 3 months ago, and our relationship changed drastically. Looking back on it now, I believe that my father-in-law was a palliative for my mother-in-law and me. After my father-in-law passed away, my mother-in-law began to pick on me. My mother-in-law seems to rely on my husband, and her rivalry with me is unbearable.
Why did Chris choose such a wife?
Whenever my husband is not around, she repeats such rude remarks. At times like this, I'm so glad I have a job. If I were a full-time housewife, I would have to endure this sarcasm all day long. If I could only endure it for less than an hour before my husband comes home, I would be free from this snoring. With this thought in mind, I decided to let it pass without saying anything in particular back to her. However, I was fed up with the daily grumbling for an hour. Twice a week, I'm in charge of making dinner. However, while I'm preparing the meal, my mother-in-law comes into the kitchen, and she's always nagging me about what to do and how to do it.
No, it's simmered dishes again today?
Angela, you don't like fried food, do you?
Don't treat me like I'm old.
The other day, you said you didn't like fried food. Before that, you said you didn't like a stew.
I never said that.
Has she got dementia? But if I say that, this screeching will go on and on. Well then, I will make fried food.
Fried fish would be good.
Something we don't have in the fridge again. I bet she checked in advance and said that. I understand. Then I will ask Chris to get some fish.
Wow, you use my son like a maid, don't you?
A maid? He's going to eat it too, so shouldn't it be okay for him to get it?
What am I saying is, you make my son run errands.
Okay then, we will have simmered vegetables today.
I don't want to eat simmered vegetables.
Then I will use delivery today.
Don't try to skip your chores.
I just couldn't help but have a bitter smile. In the end, no matter what I suggested, my mother-in-law denied everything. And when my husband comes home, she eats all the dishes she had scorned. What a pain in the ass. But this is not the only thing my mother-in-law says. She also says things about our children.
You have been married for 3 years, right?
Yes, that's right.
Grandchildren. Aren't you having my grandchildren yet? That is right.
Not yet, not yet.
Don't be silly. Answer me properly.
Not yet.
In the past 3 years.
Yes, yes, yes. If a couple can't have children after 3 years of marriage, they get divorced, wasn't it?
Yes, you know what I mean. When will I get to see my grandchildren?
I don't know. It's a gift, so.
Isn't that something wrong with you?
What?
You have a problem, so you can't get pregnant or something.
So annoying. Even though I've decided to ignore whatever she says, I'm dealing with her too. Well, I understand what she's trying to say only about this issue. It's not that my husband and I don't want children. Rather, we are always ready to have it, but there is nothing we can do about it, as it does not come to us. We are both still very busy with work, and indeed, we don't have much time to spend with each other right now. Even if my mother-in-law doesn't tell me, I'm thinking about having a child. We are ready to have a baby anytime. From my mother-in-law's point of view, it will be her adorable son's child. I'm sure she can't wait to see it.
But you are quite old to have a baby now already, aren't you? I doubt you will have a healthy child. I only accept healthy children.
I understand. I will make sure Chris knows it has to be healthy babies.
Wait a minute. This has nothing to do with my son.
Ha ha. He's a big part of it, isn't he? She must know she is doing something nasty, so she doesn't want her son to know about this. Well, I haven't complained to my husband about his mother. He's very concerned about his mother, who lost her husband. My husband would be hurt if he knew about this. Besides, I can still bear it. It's not like she's violent or anything. I thought that if I just let it go in one ear and out the other, everything would be fine. Amid this routine, I found out I was pregnant. My husband and I, thinking of my mother-in-law, told her about it when I was in stable period. However, my mother-in-law had an indescribable look on her face. I thought she would be happy, so I was surprised to find out that she was not. The reason was that my sister-in-law got pregnant at the same time, and she was having problems. She and her husband were having marital problems. They were on the verge of divorce. What on earth was going on? The next day, my sister-in-law came to our house. What she told us was full of surprises. According to my sister-in-law, her husband had been unfaithful, and he left the house with his pregnant wife behind. She did not know what to do and came back to her parents' house relying on her mother. I think coming back to her parents' house itself is natural. However, there are a few things that I did not understand. First of all, this is the house of my mother-in-law, my husband, and I live. If she is going to live here from now on, she should at least tell my husband, let alone me. Furthermore, if her husband had moved out, wouldn't it be good for my mother-in-law to support her at her place until the baby was born? My husband thought the same.
Hey sis, I know it has been hard, but it would be nice if you could say a word to us. It's our house now too.
In my opinion, I thought it was a very reasonable thing to say. But my sister-in-law and mother-in-law disagreed with us.
Your sister has been through a lot. She has been cheated on by her husband, and after all that, he left her. Why don't you go to her house? Sarah is pregnant too. It's not easy having two pregnant women in a house. I would suppose Sarah. Why don't you go to her house and support her?
I never know when he will come back. Am I supposed to leave my pregnancy under that kind of stress?
No, I didn't say that. Well, then you should have told me before you got here. Lots were going on, and I didn't have time for that. Besides, this is my parents' house. Why should I have to ask for your permission? Dad said that, remember? This is their home now too. When you come back, you have to tell them that you're coming back too. What? Dad passed away? That's not valid.
Well, there's no right or wrong. This is certainly my sister-in-law's parents' house. It is no wonder that some people think it's not necessary to say it in advance, and others think it is necessary to say it. And so, we started living together with my sister-in-law in an unfriendly atmosphere. 1 week later, my mother-in-law was so preoccupied with my sister-in-law that she stopped doing household chores altogether. On top of that, she treats me, a pregnant woman too, with a lot of disrespect. My mother-in-law would prepare breakfast as my husband is home, but I was in charge of all the dinners. And not only that, she did not ask me to do so, but she forced me to do so. When my husband came home and ate dinner, he asked me if I made dinner again today. Yes, I did.
It's been a week, right?
I confided in my husband about everything that had happened up until that day. And then he went to his mother's room in a rage.
That's enough.
My mother-in-law and my sister-in-law were very surprised when my husband opened the door and suddenly yelled at them.
What are you saying all of a sudden? You have been busy with my sister for the past week. How come you are making Sarah do all the dinner preparation?
It can't be helped. She's pregnant and it's hard for her.
Sarah is pregnant too.
Then why don't you help her? You said that you would support her the other day.
Okay, I will support her. Sarah, would you mind if we stay at your parents' house for a week or so? I will look for a new place to live while we are there.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
Well, let's get ready right away. Tell me what you need. I will pack.
Hearing this, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law stopped my husband in a panic. Hey, wait a minute. What about the cost of living? What will happen to the upkeep of this house and our living expenses when you are gone?
I don't know. You will have to take care of yourselves. I thought we were doing well with Mom because Sarah didn't say anything. But Mom, you were just being a jerk to Sarah, weren't you? I'm an idiot for not noticing, but you're an even bigger asshole.
Oh, come on. It's just a little playful banter. Sarah, I'm sorry for everything that has happened, so please stay here. No, it's just too hard. I can't. Please, live happily with your daughter. I'm saying I need you. Who do you think will take care of my daughter's baby when it's born? I think your daughter, the mother of the child, will take care of it. No, you will take care of it. So you will just have to give it up this time. What the hell is she talking about? You want me to give up my child? Yes, I do. You're younger than my daughter. You still have a chance.
Screw you, bitch.
Wow, my husband said what I was just thinking. Understood. I will not have your grandchildren. Oh well, then I guess you will just have to leave.
Fuck off, bitch. I'm cutting ties with you guys.
Chris, you better watch yourself. When your sister is going through a rough time.
Sarah is more important to me.
Oh, you married a weird woman. Well, okay. But Chris, whatever happens to me in the future, you will not be entitled to get any inheritance, okay?
I don't want it.
So, we moved out of my mother-in-law's house and moved in with my parents. At first, we planned to stay there for a week. However, my parents told us to take it easy until the baby was born. My husband seemed to feel comfortable and took them up on their offer. And the rest of the time was very peaceful.
We should have done this earlier. I'm sorry for being an insensitive.
It's okay. It's only happened after your father died. It was only for a short time.
I'm so sorry.
My husband seems so sorry that he has tears in his eyes. No, really, I have talked back to your mother. Really, it's okay. Besides, we have a peaceful life now. Let's look forward to the birth of our child.
Yeah.
And then, about 6 months after we started living at my parents', I got a call from my mother-in-law. I didn't have anything to say anymore, but I decided to answer the phone anyway. What is it? Sarah, how are you? The reason my mother-in-law contacted me was to ask for money. She said she had some money saved up, but she couldn't withdraw it right away because it is in the time deposit. So she wanted me to lend her some money for a while. I decided to ignore it for the time being. I hung up the phone without saying anything. I told my husband when he came home. He was like, "Huh? She can't withdraw money because it is in the time deposit. I don't understand what she means. Anyway, I'm pregnant right now. I shouldn't be thinking about unnecessary things at a time like this." However, my mother-in-law was so desperate that she came over to my parents' house. On a day like this, my husband and I were the only ones at home. When my mother-in-law confirmed that my parents were not there, she was about to barge in.
"Wait a minute. This is Sarah's parents' house. You can't just barge in here. If you want to talk right here."
"I came all the way out here to talk to you."
"I didn't invite you. I thought we cut ties with you guys."
"It's not that easy to cut ties, is it? So I need you to lend me money."
"Impossible. Go home now."
My mother-in-law is treated so badly by my husband. Even so, my mother-in-law does not want to leave the front door. "I will tell you the truth, so please lend me some money." And then my mother-in-law told me something that, well, didn't surprise me. My sister-in-law told me that her husband had cheated on her and that he had moved out of the house. But that was a lie. She cheated on him and got pregnant with a man who was not her husband. So she was divorced and kicked out of the house. Moreover, her husband is demanding alimony from her. When my husband and I heard this story, instead of being surprised, we were convinced. Although we have only known each other for a short time, my sister-in-law's husband is a very gentle person. There was no way that he would throw out his wife who was pregnant with his child.
"That's what she deserves. Why don't you ask the father of the child for help?"
"Well, he ran away. It's really dumbfounding."
"I'm not going to help her. I have no reason to help her. I will never forget what you said to me."
"What did I say?" My mother-in-law and sister-in-law are really beyond help.
"You told Sarah to give up the baby."
"I apologize for that already. Besides, it is growing up fine, isn't it?" "Oh, my beautiful grandchild. Don't touch me." My mother-in-law tried to reach her hand on my protruding belly. I shook it off as hard as I could. There's nothing more offensive than being petted by a stranger. "I apologized. Don't hold it against me." "Sorry, Chris. May I?" He nodded silently. "I can't forgive you for telling me to give up my child. You do nothing and come ask for help. Things do not work that way."
"Well, that's that then. Goodbye."
My husband kicked my mother-in-law out the front door and locked it. 6 months have passed since then. All we got from my mother-in-law was a postcard telling us that my sister-in-law had a baby. We haven't been in touch, so we don't know what's going on with my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and her child. But I like to think they are working hard for the child. Meanwhile, I successfully delivered my first child 5 months ago. A sweet, sweet boy. Raising a child is often a challenge, but with the help of my parents, he's growing up fast. I will continue to protect this life for the sake of my child. There are a certain number of people who can only think of themselves. It's a sad thing, isn't it? At any rate, I'm glad that Sarah and her family were able to escape from her in-laws. From now on, please enjoy a peaceful life. Thank you for watching to the end. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.